Thank you, member. Recognize the member for Burnaby North.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I am so honoured and privileged to represent the people of Burnaby North. Burnaby North is located on the traditional unceded territory of the Tsleil-Waututh people, and they are gracious hosts. Burnaby North is such a diverse community. Since I've been MLA, I've been welcomed to the Ismaili Centre, one of only 5 in the world. I've enjoyed the cultural experience at Taiwan Fest, the Korean Festival, the African, Arabic, Muslim Festival, and I've met constituents at Alun Alun, the Indonesian Festival. I've celebrated Lunar New Year at many public and private events in my community, and one group of Chinese women even got me up line dancing with them. Burnaby North is diverse in other ways as well. We are a community of renters and homeowners, young families and seniors, professionals, workers, students, artists, shopkeepers, and people who are barely getting by. Almost every economic strata calls Burnaby North home. Burnaby North is also home to cutting-edge industries like D-Wave and Fortinet. Bridges Studio brings shows like Once Upon a Time into homes all around the world. One of the last remaining refineries in BC is located in Burnaby North and provides 40% of the gasoline to the Lower Mainland. BCIT offers innovative training for the jobs of the future, like specialist nurses. I even had the opportunity to see their patient simulation lab in action. Burnaby North is a place of such natural beauty. The North Shore Mountains frame almost every view. Our community borders on the Burrard Inlet, and the Trans-Canada Trail runs along our northern edge. Ours is an engaged community. The people of Burnaby North have educated themselves about the consequences of a bitumen spill on land or sea. The opposition calls them radical protesters. I call them neighbours, local shop owners, grandparents, homeowners, teachers, students, retirees, constituents. I want to thank the people of Burnaby North for giving me the opportunity to represent them in this chamber. I want to thank the people who worked so hard to get me elected and create the kind of grassroots campaign that reflects our shared values and commitment to democracy and continues to inform my relationship with my constituents. I meet so many people when I'm out and about in Burnaby North who are still excited that, as they say, we won, and who share in that sense of victory. I also want to thank the staff in my community office, Kate Jones, Parisa Chan, and Nadja Komnenich. I thank you for creating the kind of environment where constituents feel welcome, heard, and understood. I know that by the time many constituents find you, they are already at the end of their rope and frazzled, yet you greet everyone with kindness, patience, and good humor, and you find solutions to problems that seem insurmountable. Constituents come to my office to talk to me about an amazing range of topics, and some of their stories are heartbreaking. The loss of a beloved son due to a drug overdose, the exhaustion of constantly advocating for a child with special needs, a painfully drawn-out, expensive divorce. Some visits are more upbeat, like the constituent who has a good job in the film industry but has an idea for ensuring that everyone in our community has local access to healthy, affordable food. What every visit has in common is an expressed commitment to our community. So many times, constituents end their story by saying, I'm here because I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I went through. A large percentage of the population of Burnaby North self-identifies as Chinese. I know some of them struggle to articulate their concerns in English. I'm proud that my office offers service in Cantonese and Mandarin on Wednesdays. I also want to thank the staff I work with here in Victoria, particularly Samantha Scott and Teresa Scambler. You give me sound advice. You help to make a newbie like me fit in and feel like I'm making a useful contribution. Now let me turn to the specifics of the budget. I'm proud to be part of a government that is brave and principled enough to produce such a bold, innovative, comprehensive plan. I've already heard from so many constituents who give this budget a thumbs up. The local business community is part of that consensus. The Burnaby Board of Trade has publicly stated that it approves of our efforts to make housing and childcare more affordable and accessible, issues they identify as being of importance to build business and the broader community. The Burnaby Board of Trade also states that it's pleased that Budget 2018 is balanced with a projected surplus in spite of the projected $1 billion plus loss at ICBC, and that with Budget 2018, the operating debt is expected to be eliminated by the end of this fiscal year, for the first time in 40 years. So many frontline service providers in Burnaby North, the ones that sometimes are all that stand between some families and financial or emotional ruin, they tell me that this is the first time they've felt heard and listened to in 16 years. They like the direction this government is heading in Budget 2018, and I think I can safely say that affordable housing and childcare are two of the most widely shared concerns in Burnaby North. I'm proud that Budget 2018 offers relief in both of these areas. In fact, in both areas, our plans and commitments are historic. Under Budget 2018, we are funding the creation of more than 22,000 new licensed childcare spaces in BC, spaces that will be built over the coming years as we move towards a universal early childcare and learning system in BC. Now, I'd like to draw attention to a statement that was made by the member for Chilliwack-Kent. He says, in their budget documents, the NDP refer repeatedly to the phrase new licensed spaces. That carefully chosen phrase suggests to me that they are hoping for a certain number of unlicensed spaces to license, and that they will claim that those are new spaces. If they do that, it will be a political fraud. It will be fake spaces, a sham, and we will call them on it. Madam Speaker, these will be new spaces. And while we actively build, yes, we are also encouraging licensed, not required childcare providers to become licensed and providing assistance through startup grants and supports to obtain their ECE certification. These will be on top of the 22,000 new spaces. Once licensed, providers will also be eligible to receive operating funding from the province. Increasing access to affordable, quality spaces give parents choices and will help women get back into the workforce. With Budget 2018, we are delivering immediate relief to tens of thousands of families and laying the foundation for a quality, universal childcare system. Between birth and age 6 is the most crucial time for learning and investing in the development of our children. In these early years, pay big dividends. The Conference Board of Canada has said that there is close to $6 in economic benefits for every $1 spent on expanding early childhood education enrollment of children under 5 years of age. No one questions the value of public investment in our children through K-12 school system. Now here in BC, we are finally dedicated to creating a system of childcare and early learning for our youngest children, based on early childhood educators. Research tells us that investments in licensed childcare better supports children's early development while ensuring children are in safe, quality, early care and learning environments. Budget 2018 invests $136 million over 3 years to enhance quality of care, including important new support for training and development, as well as a workforce development strategy. We are also investing $16 million in federal funding for bursaries and grants to support ECE certification and professional development. These steps will meet growing demand and quality standards for childcare. Madam Speaker, we've heard overwhelming support for our childcare plan from childcare advocates, stakeholders, and the business community since Budget 2018 was introduced. The other area of Budget 2018, about which I'm getting the most positive feedback, is our $30.6 billion comprehensive affordable housing plan. Let me just remind us about the highlights. This plan is creating a new speculation tax on those distorting British Columbian housing market. The tax will target foreign and domestic speculators who don't pay taxes here, including those who leave their units sitting vacant. This will include satellite families. The plan increases and expands the foreign buyers tax, so foreign buyers contribute more for the high quality of life they enjoy when they move to our province. It stabilizes the housing market by increasing the property transfer tax and the school tax on the wealthiest homeowners who buy or own homes valued at higher than $3 million. The plan involves taking action to reduce tax fraud and close loopholes. And we are strengthening tax administrators' audit and enforcement powers to help close information gaps and ensure tax compliance. Our housing plan includes actions to build the homes people need and improve security for renters, including investing more than $6 billion over 10 years in affordable housing, including homes for growing families, homes for seniors, housing options for women and children fleeing violence, and student housing. This is the largest investment in housing in BC's history. We are increasing rental assistance so that payments to low-income working families will increase by an average of $800 per year, and payments to seniors will increase by an average of $930 per year, helping over 35,000 households make their rent more affordable. We'll be increasing supports for renters, strengthening rental laws, upgrading existing affordable housing, and enhancing protections for owners of manufactured homes. We'll be creating a new housing hub through BC Housing to build partnerships and affordable housing where people need them most. Now, we know that there's more to do to make life affordable for the average British Columbian and ensure that future generations flourish. But this is a start, and it signals a sea change in policy direction. I think this headline in the Globe and Mail sums it up pretty well, and I quote, "BC NDP ignores elites and tables budget for those who need help." As a young stay-at-home mom in Burnaby North put it, best headline ever. In the article itself, the columnist Gary Mason says, "In the midst of his successful campaign to become leader of the BC Liberals, the current leader offered a blunt assessment of why his party was now sitting in opposition instead of on the government benches. We were preaching at people from 30,000 feet, telling them about credit ratings, telling them about our debt to GDP ratio," he said of his party's election campaign message. The NDP, meantime, were in their living rooms, offering them a cheaper way of life. It was a pointed, but certainly deadly accurate appraisal of the markedly different approaches the province's two main political entities took into the last election. If nothing else, the result drove home the fact that after 16 long years in office, his party had lost touch with vast swaths of the electorate it was there to serve. That was his assessment only a couple months ago, and you'd expect it would inform his party's reaction to Budget 2018 today. You'd expect the opposition's response to our People's First budget would be at least measured, or even break with same old, and give credit where credit is due. But no. 1 minute, they say we are going too fast, and next, we are going too slow. But what we're doing is cleaning up their mess. And no one is buying the BC Liberal line. And by continuing to attack Budget 2018, they just confirm that they have lost touch with people. Their trickle-down economics is a bankrupt theory, and their record speaks for itself. Under their watch, 1 out of 5 children now live in poverty. And the income gap between the top 1% and everyone else is bigger than it's been since the 1930s. Our budget makes different choices. Our budget supports ordinary people, consumers who spend in their community and support local business. This is a budget for the people. It reflects what people have been telling us are their priorities. Average British Columbians can find themselves in this budget. Not only does this budget directly address the problems that have been undermining the quality of life in this province, it was developed in direct consultation with ordinary people. Today is the final day the public can provide input into framing the electoral reform referendum. It's the next step in a process that will let people decide how to improve and modernize how we vote in BC. And it's not unrelated to the central planks in Budget 2018. Recently, I met a volunteer at a seniors' residence in Burnaby North. She's from Denmark, one of the most economically and socially developed countries in the world, and where they vote by proportional representation. She told me that voter turnout is 75% or more because people know that their vote counts. Social and economic programs are stable, sophisticated, and work for people. And Mr. Speaker, she says that because in Denmark there is a culture of cooperation across parties, it's not winner take all like it is here. Parties have to work through their differences to stay in power, and it gives them the opportunity to build on and perfect social programs. I entered politics to share power with those who have been left out for 16 years, and to purposefully help rekindle their faith in the democratic process. This budget is an important step in that direction. Thank you.